It seems that common culture is one of the criteria of JACE, and it's true that it's very, very important to have a common culture in the companies, which is also very challenging because in multinational companies where we have a lot of different offices and countries, to promote this common culture is quite challenging. So we would like to share with you how we are doing this, because inclusive cultures are really important to attract and to retain the best talent. And for this, we need to involve all employees on this. So the first thing that I would like to share with you is that we are trying to work in different levels. All employees, of course, we are doing initiatives that involves all employees, but also the managers. As you know, managers are taking very critical and key decisions around recruitment, promotion of people, assessing people, salary increase that we have talked about this before, and also HR teams. And Christina asked us to focus in one initiative. So in this case, I'm going to share with you what we are doing with the HR teams, okay? For us, HR teams are quite important, as you know, because after all, they are doers, because they take decisions every day when they are managing the people, when they are recruiting people, but they are also influenciators, because after all, they are working with the internal client, so they can also lead by example and promote the inclusive culture within the company, okay? So to share a little bit, our challenge. As I mentioned before, we wanted to train our HR teams within Europe, in this case, okay? And we are talking about 80 professionals that are located in 14 countries and even in more offices, because even I'm from Spain, for instance, and we have HR teams not only in one office, we have in several offices, for instance. And we didn't have external experts to discuss about these topics. And of course, as I think everyone is challenged about the budget, so how to do something with impact with sometimes not the best budget that we would like, no? So our main objectives were to reinforce the common culture and language. We make it sure that all our professionals were dealing with these topics in the same way and promoting the inclusive behaviors and practices around Europe, okay? So what we did was, for starters, like everyone does, we start by the top management. In this case, we trained the HR directors from Europe. So we asked an external trainer to deliver this session. So we have the opportunity to discuss and also to prepare an action plan. So they were more sensibilized about these topics, how important this was for us, and they help us to build an action plan for Europe. Then we decided to promote some live webinars in a studio, and we connected with more than 80 people in that case, in English and in French, and we discussed about stereotypes, bias, very generic concepts, but they are very important because HR also have biases and stereotypes, so to increase their self-awareness about these topics, and we started to introduce some topics very related with their activities as HR. Okay. After these live webinars, we launched a feedback questionnaire where we used these opportunities also to involve them. So we asked volunteers in our network to help us to build the learning. We have a lucky, because at BV, we count with an e-learning factory. So in our business, we have an e-learning factory, which is very useful in this case, and using the HR network and also some external consults, we built an e-learning that is very customized for Bureau Veritas, okay, that I will show you a little bit more in a video. So I can put the video now. So you have a touch and feeling about what is this. Now I will go very fast, because I know that the time, but I would like to give some practical recommendations if you decide to do a customized e-learning, okay? Because I think it has a lot of advantages, because at least for your people, if it's done in your environment of your company, at BV is different from Orange. That is my colleague that will talk afterwards. The examples that we can give or the situations that we can relate to, if it's about our company, makes much more sense and accelerates the learning. So I really recommend customized e-learning. Another recommendation that I would like to do is align with HR Corporate. In this case, it was an initiative at the European level, but Bureau Veritas is in 140 countries in the world. So it's important that we are aligned with the strategy and the objectives of HR Corporate to make sure that what we are sharing makes sense worldwide. Okay? Already told you, involve your HR network. They have expertise, they have experience, and for sure they can contribute to make the content much more meaningful for everyone. Use external experts. I think is also important. We don't know everything, and this topic is very specific, so it's important that we also use people that know a lot about diversity and inclusion and are aware about the trends and about the best practices. Another thing that I already told you is use examples that are meaningful for your people within the training. Then a challenge is the translation. No? If you have many countries and we are not native, sometimes it's very difficult to follow up this topic. So as much as possible, if you can, do it in their native language. If it's not possible, at least translate or put subtitles so it will help to follow up the contents. And then another suggestion, because we are talking about e-learning, is to use gamification. Today is a much more dynamic way of learning and really have a good impact in terms of retain the information. And it's very appealing to people to compete with others in terms of learning. So I really suggest you to use it during the training, but also afterwards. You know that there is a learning curve in terms of forgetting what we are learning. So just after you do an e-learning, if you launch some questions or a contest or something with a little reward, this will make sure that people retain the key messages that you want in a more efficient way. So that's all for now. I will be open for questions afterwards if you want.